There was a 5-goal thriller in Portmore, there was some big controversy at the compound, and there finally was a win at Jewsland. But we start one place and one place only, and that's at Catherine Hall, where there was nothing but drama. This is Match Week 24 Review Show. Yes, people, welcome back to JamPL Fan. It was an interesting final weekend of action in round 2, but as promised, we will start in Montego Bay, where the host team welcomed the league leaders Mount Pleasant. In terms of starting lineup for Montego Bay, the big change came in defense. There was no Triminum at all in the squad, so O'Day Nish would partner Jordan Brito at the back. As for Mount Pleasant, well, they were practically back to full strength, but it was an interesting midfield trio of Angley, McCullough and Alwyn Harvey. Now, this game was built up as a top of the table clash, and it's no surprise, the game started out with some great intensity. Both teams basically started the match going at it, but Mount Pleasant seemed to have more of the ball in the early proceedings. But you will blink and in no time, 20 minutes will pass and you realize that nothing much is happening in each team's final third. A lot of the game was bogged down in midfield as both teams seemed that they were playing too fast for their own good and could not sustain any consistent build-up play to really get a crack at goal. One finally came though, and it came from the head of O'Day Nish, where he got free here in the 6-yard box off our corner, but his header went over the bar. But despite the lack of final third activity, the game would get his first goal in the 31st minute, a sweeping ball over to the left-hand side to Shaquille Bradford, who did well to finally get past Mackenzie and go down to the byline before he sent a low cross into the box, and O'Day Nish got his legs in that tangle and managed to get the ball deflected into his own net. 1-0, and is now the men from St. Anne that are celebrating the most. The home team, to their credit, kind of up their tempo. I was trying the best to go direct to try to get in behind Mount Pleasant, but the Mount Pleasant defenders did a good job at keeping him at bay. Mount Bay eventually did find a shot on target. I came from a set piece, and Chanel Thomas did well to get a head on it, but it was a weak effort and went straight to Davis in goal. They will need more than that to get past this defense. But then they will get a little bit of help from the referee. Right before the stroke of half time, Angley and Phillips went for an aerial duel. Phillips came out the worst for Vere, and the referee stepped in to give a foul not only to Mobe, but a red card to Angley as well. It was a second yellow card offense referee Nicholson deemed, and he stated that was a use of an elbow as why he gave a yellow card. Now, this has been a topic of controversy for the entire night, but after speaking to some referee colleagues of mine, it wasn't as black and white as it may seem. I was told that leading with a forearm or elbow in an aerial duel is a cardable offense, and while I argued you can't jump without raising your arms, that yes, once you're just doing an upright jump from a standing position, yes, your arms can be up, but when you run and lunge into an aerial duel, it's best to try to keep your arms and elbows out of the way. They stated that Angley was a little bit late in the duel, and thus they had no problem with a yellow card being handed out. No, I understand all of that, but my main argument that a referee always have the discretion by his side, and with the magnitude of this match and with it being just mere moments from half time, I felt Nicholson could have just simply talked to Angley and give him a warning. But nonetheless, Mount Pleasant were down to 10 men and the complexity of the game is no change. They will keep the lead though into a half time. Second half now, Mount Bay of course know that they have a man advantage. I would look to try them best early to get a goal back, and they did much early before anybody anticipated. In the 48th minute, a set piece was launched into the box. Owain Gordon did well to get a head onto the ball and it landed at the back post, and Johan Weatherly crashed that back post with a header and got the ball into the back of the net. 1-1 to Mobe, and they're now back into the game with all the momentum on their side. The only problem now for the rest of the match, especially for a neutral, they did not do much with that momentum. Mount Pleasant would of course do the smart thing, sit into a low to mid block, and they would try their best to look for counters to try and nick a goal here and there. But the problem was with Montego Bay, they didn't seem that they were fully trying to take advantage of having more men on the pitch by having more players in that 18-yard box. They did a lot of long balls and long passes to try to get a stubborn Mount Pleasant defense out of shape. And thus, what we got as a viewing public was a bit of disjointed sloppy football that did not really benefit anyone in the stadium. We have to wait all the way to the last kick of the game for Montego Bay to try and cause up some scare, where Rankin had a chance to try and get his foot on the ball towards goal, but he stretched and missed his shot. The final whistle will be blown right after that, and this game, anticlimactically, would end in a stalemate. So the 1-1 draw, it was the end, but how was the game in terms of stats? It's no surprise that Mobay had majority of possession, 57%, and they also had more total shots in the end with 8 of them compared to 3 for Mount Pleasant. 3 of them were on target compared to 1 on target to Mount Pleasant, and they had 92 dangerous attacks Mobay compared to 57 dangerous attacks from Mount Pleasant. 4 corners to the host team and 3 corners to the visitors. Alright, let's start with Mount Pleasant quickly. Yeah, I know it was a tough game, but again, they grind out a result and you have to be happy in the end based on the context of what happened to get a point away at a tough venue. But my disappointment lies with Mobay. As I said, once again, it is seen that they lack a plan B when they have a hard time breaking down a team that's in a low block. Something they just desperately have to fix, in my opinion, come playoff time. But for now, it ended. Montego Bay 1, Mount Pleasant 1. We move on to our next game, which was the catching opener of the doubleheader, as Vere was taking on Arnett. In terms of the starting lineup for Vere, Richard White will get the nod in goal to start against his old team, as well as there's no Denzel McKenzie, so Romarian Thomas gets the nod in the starting lineup. As for Arnett, leading goal scorer Warner Brown is rested and Fabian Reid is into the team, and there was also space for 2 schoolers as Shadika Wizard and Giovanni Taylor are also in the starting 11. Now, when the game started, no one really imposed himself, although Arnett did start to go direct very early, but it took only 3 minutes for the opening goal. A 20-foot no-look pass from Jeremy Nelson found his captain 25 yards away from goal, but he did well to tee it up on his left foot before he unleashed a good volley that went over White and into the back of the net. 1-0 to Arnett, and it was a little bit, well, too easy. Arnett would dominate the ball right after that, and despite playing some decent silky football, they didn't manage to get any more shots on target in that spell. Vere would eventually settle, and they'd look at this amazing ball from Wu Ling to set up Phillips, who should have done a little bit better to get his shot past Tyrone Williams. A massive chance for Vere to get back into the team. But that seemed to spur their confidence. They would come down that right hand side again. A good low cross was played inside the box. Atkinson directly towards goal, but his shot only managed to hit the outside of the post and away for safety. But Vere playing with some of the better footballs they have all season. They would get another crack at goal right here for a free kick. Terry McGee would try his best, but again his shot would go just wide before Arnett will do enough to make sure they go into the halftime break with the slender lead. Second half note, Warner Brown was back on the pitch at this point, and he would get the first chance of the half, but he continued here on his right foot, but his shot was always rising before Vere again settled once more and come back with some good football. Woodling would test a look from far out that caused some trouble for Tyrone Williams, but they couldn't convert on the rebound. After that, Vere again would come with some good football, but they were guilty of kind of a bit of overplaying and missed some chances to really get their shot on target. And that overplaying would hurt them on the other end as well. A ball played back to Michael Forbes, and he kind of lingered on the ball, which gave Warner Brown enough time to rob him of that ball and went in on goal 1-on-1 with White before he took it past him and into the back of the net. 2-0, and that was basically the game wrapped up for the Junglists. Although they really should have a third, they keyed up right here for many of them to have a shot, and eventually the shot came. White did well to par it away for safety and keep the score respectable. But the damage has been done, and the final whistle will be blown as Arnett will get all 3 points in this encounter. So it wasn't a bad game from Vere, but they got 0 points from it. How was the game in terms of numbers? Well, Vere only had 46% of the possession compared to 54% from Arnett. Vere managed to have 9 total shots in the end compared to 11 from Arnett Gardens. 2 of those were on target for Vere compared to 2 on target for the Junglists. 64 dangerous attacks for Vere Phoenix United and 96 dangerous attacks for the Junglists. 4 corners to Vere, 4 corners to Arnett. Alright, let's start with the Junglists. Not their best game once again, just like against Harbour or Portmore, but they dig through and managed to get, well, 7 points from those 3 games, and they closed the gap with first place Mount Pleasant. As for Vere Phoenix United, well, again, they've been playing a fairly bit better the last couple of games, but a valuable 3 points continue to elude them. But for now, it finishes Vere Phoenix United 0 and the Gardens 2. So, with Vere losing, Harbour have a big chance to further distance themselves away from relegation if they can manage to get a win at home against Tivoli Gardens. In terms of the starting lineup for the home team, Chidolo Chukwemeka was back in the middle of the park, and Trayvon Reid remained in the squad to help the likes of Cavalier Murray and Akwasa Chung to find some goals. As for Tivoli Gardens, Diaga Hunt was back in between the sticks. Roshane Oldfield will start once again, and Anthony Nelson will play his second match after recovering from injury. No, as I stated before, Harbour will see this as a big chance to get a massive 3 points, but Tivoli was a team that started much better. They started with such hunger and desire, so it was no surprise that they would get the opening goal in just the 5th minute. The ball would tee up here just outside the box for Alton Lewis, who would crack his shot, and almost like he was in slow motion, the ball is rolled and trickled in off the post and into the back of the net. 1-0, and it would seem that Harbour were stunned into silence. And they didn't really recover after that, as Tivoli again was all in control. Harbour just had trouble with the pressing and physicality of their visitors. So when Trayvon Reed was hounded into giving up the ball right here to Anthony Nelson, I still didn't think anybody expected him to just turn and shoot, but it was a lucky thing he did, as he caught out Bennett out of his goal and the ball went into the back of the net. 2-0, and it came in such ease from the men from West Kingston. And Harbour still didn't quite wake up after that. Tivoli continued to dominate and carve up some half chances, but luckily for the home team, they didn't manage to really find anything else past Bennett in goal. They would try their best in retaliation by springing sub-counters through Brown and Reed, but they weren't sharp enough in the final third to really worry Hartnett in goal. The rain would come a bit after that and slow the game down a bit, so they would enter the first half with Tivoli comfortably in a 2-0 lead. But it seemed that Coach Stewart flipped some tables at half-time, because Harbour came out as a completely different team. They took the fight to Tivoli immediately as the second half whistle was blown, and they matched the running and intensity of Tivoli were doing in that first half. So again, it was no surprise that they themselves would get a goal fairly early in the second half. Some good work down here on the right hand side. See the ball teed up for Chidalu at roughly the same spot that Alton Lewis got his goal, for him to side foot his shot past Hartnett and into the back of the net. 2-1, and Harbour now have the momentum to try their best to come back into the game. It wasn't much happening after that for a while, as both teams were locked in a midfield contest, with Tivoli doing just enough to keep hanging on to their slender lead. But the referees will take center stage for the next phase of the game. So relentless pressure by Harbour had the ball in the box, and while they got a good shot towards goal, I thought it was splendid defensive work by Alton Lewis to block the shot on his doorstep and get the ball out for safety. But the referee's whistle was blown and he pointed to the spot. An incensed Alton Lewis could not believe it, and when you see the replay right here, where the ball actually came off Alton Lewis' head, you can understand why. Nonetheless, the penalty was given, and Trayvon Reed took his time before he eventually tucked the ball away and got his goal. 2-2 and parity restored for Harbour as they will try their best to go forward and find a winner. But with tensions high based on the referee choices in the game got very chippy, and a lot of bad tackles was now flown in. No team from this moment could find any real rhythm, find themselves a third goal in the game, and eventually the whistle would be blown and it would end in a 2-2 stalemate. So it was practically a game of two halves, but how was the game in terms of numbers? Well, Harbour had 47% of possession compared to 53% from Tivoli Gardens. Harbour had a strong second half, so they had 12 total shots compared to only 9 from Tivoli Gardens. 2 of those were on target for the home team and 2 of those were on target for the visitors. Harbour only managed 47 dangerous attacks, while Tivoli managed to have 50 dangerous attacks. And there were 4 corners apiece to both teams. Alright, let's start with Harbour. It was a shocking bad first half from them, but they did well to rally to get a vital point out of this game and their survival hopes. While Tivoli will be kicking themselves for their poor showing in the second half. I know they will say the referee played a role, but they still should have done a little bit better to get all 3 points. Anyway, for now it finishes Harbour 2, Tivoli Gardens 2. So with both Harbour and Vere dropping points, Humble Lion will need a win in their encounter with Dunbeholden. In terms of the starting lineup for the home team, they're basically unchanged, which means that Devante Hodges kept his spot at centre back. As for Humble Lion, the big change for them is that Dion J. Brown is into the squad, as well as Sean Campbell, as they will try their best to eke out 3 points. But when the game started, it was all the home side, as they completely dominated the ball and more of the chances in the opening minutes of the game. The Humble Lion backline and Samuels in goal were tested on numerous occasions, as Dunbeholden came with waves after waves of attack. But roughly by the 28th minute, Humble Lion kind of ride out the storm and had a spell of pressure of their very own. From the spell, they will manage to get a corner from the right hand side. From the pressure, they will find themselves with a corner from the set piece. The ball will come all the way in the box and find informed Stephen Barnett at the back post, who made no mistake and got the ball across the line. 1-0 to Humber Lion, and you could say it came against a run of play. After that, Dunbeholden doubled down on their attacking and came again in droves to try their best to find an equalizer and get onto parity before the halftime whistle. But unfortunately for them and the home fans, they failed to do so. 1-0 to the Lions at the break. Second half though, Dunbeholden came out again with fire and went straight after Humber Lion. But they would need a set piece of their very own to find the equalizer. The ball played into the box and at the back post, Hodges rised it highest and got the ball across the line and finally got parity for the home team. 1-1, and Dunbeholden now have all the momentum on their side. And they will use it to great effect, as only 7 minutes later, DeAndre Thomas will get himself a goal as well and give Dunbeholden a crucial 2-1 lead in the second half. And as if Humber Lion was caught in a whirlwind and had no idea what hit them, only 3 minutes later, Dunbeholden will come again up down the left hand side and the ball will find its way to Dwight Merrick, who will steer a shot towards the back post and he managed to beat the keeper into the back of the net. 3-1, and all of that damage in only 10 minutes. Coach Alex Thomas make some change to the Humber Lion as they were desperate to get back something out of this game, and the changes kind of worked as they were no wrestle about possession for the home team and know how to sustain spell of pressure once more. And they will find another goal once again from a corner, and through that pressure they will find their second goal. Once again it came from a corner, the ball bubbled around due to some head tennis in the box before it fell to DeAndre Brown, who did a magnificent overhead kick to get the shot into the back of the net and got 1 goal back for Humber Lion. 3-2, and the Lions were really hoping they can find the equalizer before time run out. But credit to Dunbeholden, they kept the nerve, they kept the ball, and they had better the chances towards the end of the game. And if it wasn't for Samuels in goal, they would have back their 2-goal cushion. But enough damage was done, and the game will be called off with Dunbeholden winning this one 3-2. So it was a topsy-turvy game that saw the home team come out on top, but how was the game in terms of stats? Well, no surprise, Dunbeholden had majority of the possession. They have 55 compared to 45 from Humber Lion. Dunbeholden, which I think is a bit too short here on the stats, they have 6 total shots compared to 4 from Humber Lion. Dunbeholden managed to have 3 on target compared to only 2 on target for Humber Lion, and Dunbeholden managed to have 58 dangerous attacks compared to 44 from the Lions. 9 corners in the game for Dunbeholden and 10 corners in the game for Humber Lion, and both teams of course got goals from their set pieces. Alright, let me start briefly with Dunbeholden. The renaissance under Harold Thomas continues. They were given a bit of a scare by Humber Lion in this one, but such is the confidence of this team. At the moment, it will seem that there's no stopping them going forward. As for Humber Lion, again another tough result for Alex Thomas and his team. Once again, they performed fairly well and come away with 0 points. Time is running out for the Lions. But for now, the game ended. Dunbeholden 3, Humber Lion 2. So I'm not sure what's in the water over Portmore, because there will be another 5-goal thriller just up the road. Racing United was taking on Molynes United. In terms of the starting lineup for the home team, Racing saw Tamis Richardson back into the team, as well as youngster Stephen Spence will lead the line up front. As for Molynes United, Jeremy Thomas will continue the experiment of playing Jason Wright and Peter McGregor together up front, and they are joined by the likes of Terry Wilson and Richard Livingston to try and get themselves some goals. But when the game started, it was all the men in yellow and blue in the early proceedings. They completely dominated the ball and the run of play in the early 5 minutes of the match with some good football, but they would get the opening goal in the 6th minute thanks to Route 1 football, where the ball was played all the way over the top for Spence to run onto, and his head reached the ball before onrushing Dane and got the ball into the empty net. And based on the early dominance, it was fully deserved. And that dominance continued for the next 20 to 30 minutes basically, as they completely dominate the play, and Molynes did well to not concede a goal right here. But it didn't matter, they would get their second in the 36th minute. Racing raced away up through the middle of the park before the ball was laid off to Ellis here on the left hand side, who did well to get past his man, steady himself, and then took his shot underneath the keeper into the back of the net. 2-0, and Ellis is on such great form is that you almost forgot that Ronaldo Biggs is not playing. Molynes would do just enough to stop the bleeding to go into the halftime break. But second half, Racing came out to show no mercy, and it's no surprise that they would get the third not long after that. In the 48 minutes, some sloppy defensive play saw Ellis freed at the top of the box. He raced inside the box before he again steadied himself and got his shot at the near post, beating Donay and into the back of net. 3-0, and that's another brace for the informed Ellis. But it seemed that third goal was one too many for Molynes United pride, as they finally stepped up their act and got some good football going. They would even get one back not long after that in the 54th minute through Peter McGregor right here to give Molynes hope of an unlikely comeback. But the next few phases of the game, it seemed that it might actually happen. They were now the ones in control, and they carved up so many great chances that I am totally surprised that they did not manage to put away at least one of them. But they will find the second goal in the 76th minute, and it actually came from a set piece, a free kick roughly 25 yards out, and Marlon Pennycook would do well to beat Holmes at his near post with this shot and bring the deficit back down to 1. But it seemed that Racing finally realized that they're in danger of scoring in a big performance and finally wake up and start to dominate again in the last proceedings. In fact, they carved up two great chances that they really should have tucked away to wrap up the game and make it quite comfortable, but then they pull up some big saves to still keep Molynes in it. But they could not find an equalizer before time ran out, and Racing kind of close in the end, but got a big 3 points at the end of the day. So it was another 5-goal thriller in Portmore. How was the game towards the stats? Well, Racing had 55% of possession compared to 45% for Molynes United. Racing only managed 5 total shots in the game compared to 7 from Molynes United, but Racing had 4 of those on target compared to 2 from Molynes United. 85 dangerous attacks for the home team, 104 dangerous attacks for the visitors. 2 corners for Racing, 3 corners for Molynes United. Alright, starting with the home team, sure, Bashi Ellis will get all the plaudits and headlines, but the entire team is playing with such swagger and confidence that it's no surprise that they're comfortably in mid-table. As for Molynes, it's been a rough February for them. We'll see them tumble all the way back close to relegation, so they'll be hoping that next month will be much better for them. But for now, it's a defeat as they lost to Racing 3-2. So we move to Jerusalem for our next game, and Chapelton Maroons, seeing all their relegation rivals dropping points, will be hoping to get something themselves from their visit to Cavalier. In terms of the starting lineup for Cavalier, Shaquille Stein is once again rested in favor of Justin Dunn, but the big surprise is that Jamarra Calvin was also rested for the first time I feel in months. As for Chapelton Maroons, it's still no Prince Daniel Smith, so Jovel Plunkett starts again in goal. Youngster Dunstan Cohen kept his spot in the team, and star player Demar Deacon is once again on the bench. Now, when the game started, it was all the defending champions as they completely controlled the game and created some good looks at goal, but they were lacking a bit of sharpness in the final third. Then Chapelton managed to stun everybody at Jerusalem after Ray Campbell did well to find Deshaun Bennett right here, who cut in his right foot before curling a beautiful shot over Bartlett and into the back of the net. 1-0 to the Maroons, and it came against a run and play. Cavalier stepped up the tempo after that and carved up some good chances, especially this one right here, where Justin Dunn found Busy Atkinson in front of the net, but he shot Oli Manchakanen off a maroon shirt and away for safety. The Maroons will do just enough to enter the halftime break with the slender lead. Second half though, it will be Busy Atkinson at it again, but Plunkett will deny Cavalier not just once, but twice to keep his sheets clean. At this point, Rudolph Speed brought on his main attackers. Stein and Calvin came into the game, but it was new winger Writers that would really open up Chapelton's defense and cause the opening goal. Some great work down the left hand side right here to left his man for dead before he swung in a great ball at the back post, and Calvin did well with his diving header to reach it and get it into the back of the net. 1-1, and he felt not only it was deserved, but he probably felt it was coming. Plunkett will come up big once again to deny Cavalier from finding a go-ahead goal, but they will eventually find it with one of the assists of the season. Cavalier worked the ball around from the corner before it reached Giovanni Lang with his back towards goal, and let's look at the sweep back heel that freed up Stein in the box for lash it home to give Cavalier the 2-1 lead. Then I want you to look at these next two couple of plays. I am absolutely shocked that Cavalier did not find a third from either one of them to put this game to bed, and it almost cost him right at the very end. A ball played in by Chapelton Maroons, falling Devon Williams right at the doorstep, but he did not move fast enough to direct his shot towards goal. Cavalier will be probably happy that they finally heard the final whistle after that to run away out of this one with a 2-1 victory. So it seemed via the IATS Cavalier were completely dominant, but how was the game on paper? Well, Chapelton and Cavalier were even on possession, 50-50. Chapelton managed to have 11 total shots in the game compared to 17 from Cavalier. Chapelton managed to have 3 shots on target in the game compared to 6 on target from Cavalier. 47 dangerous attacks for Chapelton Maroons and 64 dangerous attacks for Duncan Destroyers. 2 corners for Maroons, 7 corners for Cavalier. Alright, let me start with the Maroons first. I'm a bit surprised that with them being so close to the relegation zone and your best player all season in Demar Deacon is not starting these matches as of late. I'm not sure if he's playing with a knock, but Chapelton will need something more to find more wins to get them away from relegation. As for Cavalier, while the scoreline was a bit close, but that attacking performance was more like their usual selves. But they definitely need to brush up on that finishing going forward. Anyway, for now, it finishes Cavalier 2, Chapelton Maroons 1. So we'll move on to our final game as Waterhouse was hosting Portmore United. In terms of the starting lineup for the home team, Akeem Bernard continued to deputize in goal and Javier Bryan was given the nod at the number 9 position over Bygrave. As for Portmore, Benjamin Williams was back in the squad, but Russell kept his spot in goal. Seagull Knight was captain in the middle of the park, and Akeem Molynes kept his spot from the last game as well. Now, when this game started, well, it was a bit slow as both teams took their time to feel their way into the game before Waterhouse got a sighting on goal, but this shot went over the bar. Before Portmore also got a sighting on goal, but Pinnock's effort also went over the bar. It wasn't much happening the entire first half after that as both teams was locked up around in midfield until the 40th minute where Andre Fletcher was given a chance with a free kick roughly 20 yards out. But he has been on such good form this season, while it's no surprise that he will find the back of the net. A good curling shot over the wall, hit off the post and went across the line. 1-0 to Fire Nation, and when you look at the replay, there was nothing Russell could do about that free kick. Mere moments later, Portmore also had a free kick of their very own to try to get an equalizer, but while the shot was on target, Akeem Bernard did well to come across and fired out for safety. So they went into the halftime break with a slender lead for Firehouse Nation. Second half though, Portmore definitely started the brighter as they tried to find something back in the game. They once again will try for another free kick that comes near post, but Bernard was equal to the task and again he fired out for safety. Again, the tempo of the game wasn't at the highest, and this shot by Bryan from far and out was Waterhouse's best effort to try to extend their lead. Before Pinnock also got a looking on goal once again, but should have done way better to get something on target. The game was just drifting along before Portmore had a corner right here that Waterhouse did well to defend before a splendid ball was played over the top for Andre Fletcher to race in on goal, but Molynes seemed to do just enough to stop the attacker from advancing and he went to the floor. But the referee blew his whistle and I thought it was soft at first, but when you look at the replay, it was clear that Molynes was pulling on Fletcher's short the entire time and thus justifying the red card being shown. Molynes was off and Portmore's task of getting back in the game just got more difficult. For the ensuing free kick, Fletcher tried his best to once again beat Russell to double their lead, but he did not manage to do so. At this point, Portmore got desperate and threw Stephen Young at forward as they tried to lob the ball and to see if he can get anything towards goal. But after these two efforts, Portmore didn't get any closer to getting one back and the game would eventually peter out to a slender 1-0 win for the home team. So it's a big win for Waterhouse at home, something they didn't manage to do for a while. How was the game in terms of stats? Well, Waterhouse actually had way less of the ball. They only managed 33% of it all compared to 67% from Portmore United. Waterhouse only managed 3 total shots in the game compared to 5 from Portmore United. 2 of those were on target for the home team, of course, compared to 2 on target for Portmore. Waterhouse only managed 25 dangerous attacks compared to 28 from Portmore United. 1 corner to the home team and 4 corners to the visitors. Alright, let's start with Portmore. This was a bad end to the second round for them. They played fairly well, but again, they're just missing an extra spark in the final third. As for Waterhouse, man, they needed this home victory. They had a very bad run of it this year, so they won't care that they didn't really play well. They just wanted the 3 points at home. So, once again, it finishes Waterhouse 1, Portmore United 0. So, that is round 2 done and dusted for this season. Let's look at the final table headed into round 3. Mount Pleasant is still on top with 62 points from their 26 matches played. Arnett is in second now with 54 points. Mobe in a distant third with 50 points from their 26 matches. Cavalier looking settled in fourth with 44 points. Portmore is not far behind them with 43 points. Waterhouse close off the top 6 with 37 points. But Racing is not far behind. They have 34 points in 7th. Tivoli is still hanging a bit with 32 points in 8th. Dunbeholden all the way up to 9th with 32 points as well. Harbour looking much more safer, 24 points in 10th spot. Molynes at 23 points in 11th. Chapelton too close to relegation with 22 points in 12th. Vere with some work to do with 19 points from their 26 matches in 13th. And Humble Lion with the most work to do yet with 18 points from their 26th match at the basement. But alright, but that is all from this match week review show. Thank you all for watching, and please like, subscribe and share as we look to keep you all up to date on the JPL leading up to the final in May. Otherwise, for great JPL content, you're already at the right place, JPL fan. YouTube, pick up yourself.